Hey all, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking channel. I am Darren, and today I'm going to show you how to make a great snack for your Super Bowl Sunday party. Pork belly, not pork belly burnt ends, because they're really not burnt ends. They're going to be fantastic. I'll be right back.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Okay guys, and not that I don't like pork belly burnt ends, I really love them, but they've been done a million times on YouTube and everywhere else. You can find, if you just type in pork belly burnt ends in the search on YouTube, you can find a million videos, I'm sure, on how to make them. But you know, so I like to cook different things different ways. So one of the things I can make with pork belly is I can make something similar to the pork belly burnt ends, but just make it with the different flavor profiles and different sauces. So they're really not technically pork belly burnt ends, but a very good piece of pork belly anyway. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make my own little special kind of rub, and it's going to have a lot of citrus base to it. So I'm going to start out with the FreshJax citrus pepper as like the base. I'm going to use Mesquite lime seasoned salt that they also have. I'm going to use a little bit of their garlic herb blend so I can get a little bit of savory garlic in it. And then I'm going to use some of their orange peel and lemon peel. So I want it kind of a citrusy, garlicky, peppery type flavor profile. And that's what these blends are going to do. I'll put the ingredients and amounts in the description below, but pretty much tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of each, depending on what size pork belly you have. This is probably a good 2 pounds of pork belly. I took a 4-pound pork belly and cut it in half, so you could just double the recipe if you needed more. Have it if you don't need as much. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to coat this in this rub. Probably use about half the rub and put it in the sous vide bag. Then we're going to sous vide it for 36 hours right here at right at 150 degrees. The reason I use 150 degrees is because A, I want it cooked well done, but I don't want it overcooked. I want some of the fat to be rendered, but not all of the fat. I want some of the fat to be able to get crispy and develop a nice crunch to it when I finish it off on the smoker later. So 150 is going to give me that really good, tender, done piece of pork belly. Still has a bite to it and render some of that, a lot of that fat, but I can have that good fat cap on here that's going to be nice and crispy when I'm done. So I'm going to season this up right now. Just pretty much just put a nice even coat on here. You can rub it if you want to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to kind of dust it on. When it gets in the bag, it's all going to kind of mingle anyway. So it really doesn't matter if I get every single inch of this seasoned, because once the fat starts to render and the moisture starts to come out, it's going to get all over the pork belly. So I got that side. I'm going to turn it over and get my fat side here. Now this doesn't have skin on, just the fat, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that fat on there. You can trim it off if you want to, but I'm going to leave that on. I want some of it to render, and I want some of it to be on there when it comes out of the bag to put on the smoker as well, so I can cook it off when I get it out of there. So like I said, I'm just going to put a nice coat. You can move the spoon around on it if you want. And that's pretty much it for now. When I take it out of the bag in 36 hours, I'll put a little bit more of the seasoning on there. So that's it. I'm going to stick it in my vacuum sealer bag. We're going to vacuum seal it up, and I'll be out to put it in the sous vide. I'll be right back. It's really that simple, guys. Make a nice rub, coat it, put it in the bag, stick it in the sous vide. After 36 hours, we'll stick it on the smoker. I'll be right back. detail, I am back. It's actually been a little bit longer than 36 hours, so, which is okay. It's pork belly. It's okay to sit in there. I think it's been about 40 hours, so I think we'll be okay with that. I am going to go ahead and take this out of the sous vide bath. I got some really cold water with some ice in it. Not a real big ice bath. I don't really need to get this down super cold. I just want it to chill it down some so we have a little bit more time on the smoker, like always. Go ahead and pull this out. It's very tender. It's cooked pretty good. So we're going to chill this down. It's actually going to firm it up some as well, so it's not falling apart. And we're going to take it out and put it on the smoker to get some smoke to it, put a little bit more seasoning to it, and make this into some great pork belly. So let this chill down for a little while. I'll be back when it's ready. All right, guys, I had audio problems here, but I'm going to let you know what I did. Pretty much with the when you chill this down after sous vide, all of the fat will stick right to the side of the bag, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. I'm going to put this over to the side, and we're going to use some of those bag juices later to make a nice sauce. But really, just take this out of the bag, and I'm going to take a little bit more of that rub that we used and just re-season both the fatty side and the meat side, and that's pretty much it. And then we're going to go ahead and stick it in the smoker at about 225 on high smoke. All right, guys, I used my phone app here to crank the Timberline up to 225, and we're going to do that for about 40 minutes or so, and use the super smoke setting so we can get some nice smoke profile to this pork belly. And then after that, we're going to crank the heat up to about 375 so we can get a nice color. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to make a nice glaze sauce with the bag juices and a couple other ingredients here so that we can get a nice glaze to the pork belly. And I'll be right back, show you how I'm going to make that nice glaze. Alright, guys, we're going to be, right now I got the pork belly in on the Traeger. It's at 225, and it's on the super smoke setting. So what I'm doing, I'm cooking it at a lower temperature right now just to get some smoke and as much smoke attached to it as possible. We're only going to do that for 45 minutes or so. Then I'm going to crank the heat up, and then I'm going to put some of this glaze on that I'm going to make. And right now I just got some of the bag juices in there that I took most of the fat off because, like I said, since we cooled it down, a lot of the fat stuck to the side of the bag. So there's a little bit of that pork belly fat in here, but most of it is just those juices that came out of the meat. And I'm going to make a little glaze here that, like I said, I don't want it really super sweet like a Kansas City style barbecue sauce or anything. I'm going to make it a little Asian sauce, but I'm going to take just a little bit of the seasoning that we seasoned. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I had it set a little too high. A little bit of that seasoning that we had put on the pork when we cooked it. Just a little bit, not a lot, because we already have some of that seasoning in this liquid here. And I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons or so of soy sauce. You can do this to taste, but I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons of soy and about 2 tablespoons of teriyaki. And then I'm going to use, for our sweet, this Frank's Red Hot sweet chili sauce. It's not really that spicy. It's just got a little bit of spice to it. It's mostly sweet, and it's kind of coats your tongue with some sweet spices, and that's what I like about this particular sauce. And I think it's going to go really well with these other flavors. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this reduce down. I'll put probably about 3 tablespoons of that in there. I'll probably put just a little bit more, about 4 or 5 tablespoons in there. I don't want this to burn, so I'm going to put this on a lower temperature and just kind of let this meld together and reduce and turn into a glaze. So let me turn it back up. And you see it looks kind of dark because of the teriyaki and that soy sauce. So that's going to be kind of an Asian type flavor. There'll be a little bit of sweetness to it, but more of a savory factor to it. So we'll let this reduce down some, and then we'll take a look at it before we baste it on the pork belly. Like I said, we're going to crank that temperature up on the pork belly in just a couple minutes so we can get a nice Maillard reaction on it. Get it browned up really good. All right, guys, I will be back. All right, guys, we're going to get this thing coated here with our glaze. Pull this out just a little bit so I don't burn my hands. As you can see, it's kind of a little thicker now than it was. See, it's getting a nice little crust on there already. I'm only going to do this one side. I don't want to flip it over anymore. I want this to just kind of sit here, gel up. I might put one more coat of this on after another 4 or 5 minutes. There we go. Alright. Let this cook a little bit more. Whoop. Don't want to do that. I want to push it back in. And we'll be right back. Alright guys, it's been about another 6 or 8 minutes here. I'm going to temp it, and we're getting close to the 150. We're at like 140 right now. So I'm going to put one more coat of the glaze on and let it sit in here for another 4 minutes or so, and we should be right there at the 150. Be able to take this out and take a taste. I'll be right back. Alright guys, here you go. It looks really, really good. Another 5 or 6 minutes in there, and it looks really nice. The sauce can actually be you can add more back on. You can use it as a dipping sauce when you're serving this, but it turned out really well. You can see we got a great color to it. A little bit more tender than I would have liked. Probably should have just kept it at the 36 hours, but I had something come up and went about 42 hours on this, but super tender. The fat rendered really well. There's still some fat on there for flavor, but melts in your mouth, but very, very good. And take a bite here, and it just melts in my mouth, and the flavors are there as well. Very, very concentrated flavors. You need to check it out. Very tender, very great way to make pork belly. Very savory with a little bit of sweet from that sweet chili sauce. But check it out, guys. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to the YouTube channel. Follow us on our Fire and Water Cooking podcast. And I'll see you again on the next Fire and Water Cooking video. Take care.